Glenn, your first experiences with music?
My first experiences, I have to laugh because it really shows my age now. My first experiences, I reckon, so my mother told me, this sounds a bit corny, although it's not some of the dance genre, as a little infant, obviously, there was a real, how you call it, popular record by an artist called Del Shannon, and he did his pop record called Runaway, and I always used to sing it in front of the radiogram, show my age, radiogram, and that's when they first bought me the record, my first awareness of music, and which I thought was pretty cool because it wasn't really music that was indigenous from where my parents came from, being West Indian, and the music of that day was probably a little bit of calypso and other styles of music. But that was my first experience. But I think as time gone on a bit later, my taste changed. Being how you say that, black British, and sometimes you're just spoon-fed with what's on the charts, and so I used to enjoy what was going on, all the usual pop stuff, but I learned a lot from my cousins, and I would say my first impressions and my first experience, I would say, to be honest, would be late 60s, early 70s, going to my cousins, listening to real music with real messages, the Curtis Stark sort of music, the James Brown sort of music. And as we go a bit later, 1971, I remember sitting around and listening to Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, while we're having a conversation like how we are now. And we were just talking about things happening in our neighbourhood, in Brixton, in Herne, how things were going. And for me, it just defined, for me, who I really was. I was thinking, well, I was really, if you didn't look at my skin, yes, I'm English, but I'm black English, and that's something totally different. And I think that's my first impression, I would say, and that's what really defined me, late 60s, early 70s, as to where my musical ideas were going to come from. And what about for you, Akin? How did it start for you? Because you was probably a totally different aspect in a way.
Yeah, my parents are both huge jazz fans. That's really where it came from for me, from my parents. So, yeah, but they also liked soul as well, so it was people like Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin. You know, if you ever remember that "What Is Soul" album with Benny King on the cover and the jigsaw puzzle.
Okay,
iconic image.
Yeah. I think
that
I
was
have a copy.
very much
Yeah.
Sticks in my mind as a kid, and also albums like Jerry Butler, The Iceman Cometh. So these are all albums we had at home. Okay. And the jazz, my parents, big Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday. My mum was a big Billie Holiday fan, although I wouldn't say the music resonated much with me as a youth. When I was 6, 7, 8, wasn't interested really, but you'd hear it in the house and it had that kind of nostalgic effect. You know, you think of Sundays. I mean, Sundays would be when my dad's ironing his shirt, my mum's doing the house cleaning and the cooking, and there'd always be music in the house on a Sunday. You did food shopping on a Saturday, there'd be jazz on a Sunday, and then you'd hear all these records, and there was also things like Procol Harum, White a Shade of Pale. That was a popular record.
Yeah, but that was normal back in the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, those are the things that I remember in terms of. I always liked melodies and catchy hooks. I think that was the thing that kind of caught me. So something like White a Shade of Pale, something like Sweet Soul Music, Arthur Conley. Oscar Tony Jr. For Your Precious Love. You know, these are kind of songs that always stuck in my mind, and I think they kind of influenced me later on. But I would say when I was probably about 11, I went to Nigeria. And when I went out there, saw my family for the first time properly. At that time, reggae was really popular. Bob Marley was big. But I didn't really know who Bob Marley was until I was introduced to him at my uncle's party by the guy who was playing the music there. I was asking him to play Barry White, and he was saying, "No, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this." And I see this guy with long hair, a black man with long hair, which I didn't realise was dreadlocks at the time. It was the cover of Rastaman Vibrations, and I said to myself, when I get back to England, I'm going to have to check this out. I'm going to have to find out what is this all about. And I remember going to Wembley Market and thinking in my head, Bob Marley, and getting confused with Bob Dylan. Which sounds kind of ridiculous now. Yeah? But finally, common sense prevailed and managed to get Rastaman Vibration, played it at home, I remember taking it home, I remember playing it. You know, that was one of my first records I ever purchased. Yeah.